Real excited about our youngest guest ever.
It just lit the spark in me, like the adrenaline of passing people.
I wanted to talk to you about just kind of your mindset during a race.
How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? It was a drag race to the line. We were both kind of drifting coming out of the corner, and I just beat him by maybe 500th of a second. So
90% is mental.
my first race, I didn't do very well, so I was a little bummed out after that one.
Like you're just very focused and determined.
I will follow through with what I will say I will do.
So I'm going to brag about you a little bit here.
Welcome to the Grit.org podcast. In these episodes, they speak to top achievers in athletics and business to understand the habits and mindset they apply in order to build more grit.
Well, hello. Welcome to today's episode of the Grit.org podcast. Really excited about our youngest guest ever on today's podcast. So Jaxon Burnett, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So I'm going to brag about you a little bit here before we get started. Let our listeners know about your story. And so Jaxon Burnett, his racing journey started in May of 2019 at just 6.5 years old. He strapped in a quarter midget car for the very first time. And his very first races, Jaxon quickly climbed the podium, earning Rookie of the Year honors after only half a season. In his second season, he went from running a single car to managing 3 cars across junior divisions, securing podium finishes in all 3 cars for track championship standings. That same year, he traveled across the country to Texas, California, Nevada, Oregon, Montana, and even the British Columbia. In his third year, he captured the Junior 60 Track Championship, and over the next 2 years, his success continued with titles like the 160 Cactus Nationals Champion and Duel in the Desert Champion, proving he could consistently run up against the very best racers in the country. In 2023, Jaxon and his family made the strategic move from Seattle, Washington to North Carolina, which is the heart of American motorsports. That same year, Jaxon was selected as a factory driver for Second Shift Motorsports and earned multiple podium finishes and captured the Carolina Clash victory. In addition to his on-track achievements, Jaxon enrolled at Speed U, an accredited online school built for youth racers, and finished both 5th and 6th grade in a single year, all while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. His leadership and performance earned him the role of student ambassador, allowing him to travel and speak at events about STEM education, youth racing, and the importance of perseverance, which is a good fit since we're talking about the Grit.org podcast today. He was also selected to drive a Speed U sanctioned INEX Bandolero car. Despite stepping into a national event right out of the gate, he finished 3rd overall in his debut. Progressing through the ranks faster than most, he went on to claim another 3rd-place finish at Spring Nationals, consistently outdriving older and more experienced competitors. In the winter of 2024, he was honored to pilot the number 12B Legend car for Wade Tractor and Adrenaline Power Sports. He earned 7 wins during his rookie season, built multiple valued partnerships, including Rhino Shield of the Carolinas, and capped off the year by winning Rookie of the Year at Echo Park Speedway, formerly the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So, Jaxon, welcome to today's episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, so before we jump into our first question, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for today's episode, escrow.com, the world's most secure payment method for online transactions. So whether your transaction is $100 or $100 million, escrow.com makes buying and selling online safe, secure, and trusted. So rest assured that your transaction for a motor vehicle, electronic equipment, business, domain name, or anything significant to you is protected. Visit escrow.com today to learn more about how you can transact with confidence. So, Jaxon, first question I had for you. We always like to start at the beginning, but tell us about growing up, life in Seattle, Washington, where you're born and raised. Any favorite memories you have as a kid growing up?
Yeah, so back in Seattle, it was a lot of fun, especially going there until I was 10, so 10 years of my life. Some of my favorite memories was probably in school. I went to the school my whole entire career, or my whole entire life up until we moved out here. A lot of them were probably with my friends, like doing the egg drop in the parking lot, doing those things. And then there will be times where it would just be my mom, my dad, and then some of my siblings, or just me. We would go by the water and we get like hot dogs or just sit by the water. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of good memories.
And so I know you've got a number of siblings. So you're the youngest of how many?
Four siblings,
So the
or
youngest,
four, yeah.
four
Sorry.
total siblings. Okay. And then your next, the sibling that's the next, I guess, youngest to you is how much older?
9 years.
9 years. Okay. And so tell us about your first experience ever getting in a car. I don't know if it was like one of those battery powered cars as a kid, maybe you got for a birthday or Christmas, but you remember that first memory hopping into a car?
Yeah, it was probably so my cousin, they used to have one of those Power Wheels. And then I used to ride in one of those all the time. But my first time in like a quarter midget, it was it was since I was 6 and it was my first time. I was a little scared, so I would always like you're supposed to go up by the wall, but I was down by the grass. But it was different when I was younger. To me, it was fun. I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do from now on. Just like it just lit the spark in me.
So, what prompted you to get into a quarter midget car? I didn't even know that's something that, kids could do. I mean, where did you do that?
Yeah, so back in Seattle, there's this track called Bourne Monroe area. There's this track called Evergreen Speedway. It's kind of a bigger track, but across from there, they have a quarter midget track. So my dad actually took me there to watch some of the races one day. I asked if I could race one, and about a couple weeks later, I got surprised with a quarter midget there. But yeah, a lot of people can just start based off of like asking someone if they have one for sale.
Wow. So, and just for our listeners that have never seen a quarter midget car, so this is basically about the size of a go kart, a little bit bigger, but it's got like a contraption over the top. Or can you kind of describe what a quarter midget car would look like?
Yeah, so it's about the same size as a go kart, like as a smaller go kart. But really, it's kind of just the way I think about it is it's like a go kart that goes around in circles with a roll cage on top of it, and then with some extra panels and a little bit more power when you get up to the higher classes. But yeah, that's really kind of just the way that I like to think about it. I know some people like it to think about it as a different way, but that's really just to me the simplest way to think about it.
Okay. And what kind of speeds are you getting up to in a quarter midget car?
Yeah, so they can range anywhere from 10 miles an hour to 60 to 65 miles an hour.
Okay. And then when you're racing, just to try and paint the picture, how wide is the track? And then how many kids are competing at the same time?
Yeah, so I believe the max cars on track for national events, I believe it's 12, but for local events, I believe it's 10. But the tracks are semi-wide. I know there's tracks that are pretty narrow where you can only pass on the straightaways. But there's also some tracks that I've raced at where you can go five wide, which is five cars horizontally, which is pretty crazy.
And so when you're competing in a race, I guess all the cars pretty much have the same speed, right? So then it just comes down to turns and, your line and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, so all the cars in different classes will have the same exact engine. So, example, Junior 160 or Light 160. Light 160 has a little bit more horsepower than Junior 160, but everyone in the Light 160 class runs the same exact motor. But as in the Junior 160, run this Junior 160 motor. But then it really just comes down to driver, your setup, and then your line.
Okay. And yes, do you remember your very first race ever? Anything you can share about that story?
Yeah, so my first race ever, it was a double header, so which means two races, 2 days. So my first race, I didn't do very well. I kind of finished in the back, and I wasn't able to qualify for the next race. So I was a little bummed out after that one. But I believe the next weekend we went out and finished fifth and I believe fourth. So we were pretty happy with that. But yeah, my first race, it was since we didn't qualify, I was a little bummed out. But yeah.
And what was something you learned early on from that first race in terms of what you had to do better? Is it a lot of it just, getting out to a better start and, not getting too far behind, just kind of starting to figure out how to do the turns?
Yeah, so one thing I really figured out is to not really pass on the outside. I mean, you can in the cars I'm racing right now, but the quarter midgets you can't really, just because you're not able to carry enough speed. But also, just really just be more aggressive. I wasn't really as like I would say as aggressive as I should have been in that first race, just because it was my first race and I was 6.5. But yeah, those are really the key things I learned from that one.
So really not trying to pass on the outside and trying to wait to get that kind of inner edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you are behind someone trying to pass them, like I'm just speaking from, I grew up with a go-kart as a kid and would ride around the neighborhood and love going to like go-kart tracks. I've never done anything professional, but I know that, you can get up to them and sometimes you can kind of nudge your way into the middle. Are you allowed to touch their car at all or nudge them, or is that disqualification or?
Yeah, so a lot of people call it a bump and run, which is where you hit kind of like their rear bumper and kind of move them out of the way. But some people will also kind of just get them loose on their left rear tire, which works too, but it's a little bit more risky. But yeah, you're allowed to move people. You're allowed to rub against other people's cars. But yeah.
And so you've got bumpers that kind of protect your car, I guess, when you do that, right? So you're not like dinging.
Yeah, so we have a, pretty decent sized front and rear bumper,
Okay.
and then we have on the sides what's called Nerf bars, which are kind of just side bumpers for the quarter midgets. But once we get to like the Bandoleros and the Legends, they don't have those. They just have front and rear bumpers.
Okay. And I know early on you had interest besides, go-karts as well. I know you've played a good bit of football. What have been some other interests you've had even outside of sports?
Yeah, so really just the two. Well, like you said, I played football for a little bit, and then soccer and baseball. But also, I kind of like doing some little bit of arts, and then now I kind of like there's a little bit of welding classes I do here and there. But yeah, those are really just some of those things that I do outside of sports and racing.
Okay. And with the welding, is that something that comes into play with racing, or is that just totally separate? Like what type of stuff are you typically welding?
Yeah, so I'm really just it really helps a little bit with the racing. It's to me it's kind of like a secondary path if driving doesn't go well. But yeah, I'm kind of welding like steel, aluminum, what kind of like what would be on a like an actual race car. It's actually put on a by a company called Pitweld U that they do stuff with the racing as well, I believe.
Hmm. And so going into that first year, was it your first year that you made the decision of like, hey, I really want to do this full time? Or how deep into racing were you before you really, made that commitment to going all in on racing?
Yeah, I think it was our second year that we went full in that we knew like okay yeah or that I knew that this was like what I wanted to do just because like coming off our first year we did pretty good especially for it to be in our first year and I think we thought that we were just gonna do really good going through our career so far we have but yeah that second year is really just our commitment year that we figured out like yeah this is what we're gonna do for longest time as possible.
Yeah, because your rookie year, you got rookie of the year. So how many races does it take to qualify for that, or um, what does it take to win that award?
Yeah, so it's really to win the award. I think it's really just to really just try like the club that we race for, WQMA. That's how I got the Rookie of the Year award, or who I got the Rookie of the Year award. And I think they kind of just saw me kind of growing through racing, learning a lot more than I probably should have been when I was 6. But yeah, we also did like 10 or 15 races, so I think that also helped us a lot. I think we won a good amount of those. But yeah, really just the what they look out for is learning your growth and like how you perform or how you perform and how you kind of like outstand yourself or like show yourself.
Hmm. And so in that second season, you went from, running one car to running 3 cars. So tell us about that. Are the cars bigger, or why would you go from running one car to 3?
So yeah, the cars are about this, or the cars are the same size. We really just went to one car to three cars just for two different classes, because we moved up from junior novice, which is the rookie level, up to junior Honda, junior animal, and I believe it was junior 160. But the really just we went from one to three cars just for more classes, and since we moved up, we were like, okay, we can move up to different classes, and we can just get different cars and run multiple races a day.
Okay. And so your second season, I'm guessing you're 7 years old at this time. Was that when you started doing this full time and pretty much racing on a consistent basis? Did you start doing the online school at that point as well, or?
Yeah, so I we sorry we did a little bit of full schedule there at the local club there. I wasn't in online school yet, just because we weren't traveling the country and we weren't racing like during the weeks. We were really just racing on the weekends. But yeah, we decided to go full schedule for the local club, which was I believe almost every weekend up until October or November. I'm not 100% sure, but we went did a lot of those races. But yeah.
And looking back to early on in your career, maybe even that second season, because I know what you do now to prepare for races is a lot different than probably what you did back then. But what were some of the things that really helped you learn and grow and advance during those early years? You mentioned being part of a club, so is there was there weekly training back then? Was it just talking to, I don't know if you had like a track coach, or tell us a little bit more about any mentorship or how you progressed early on.
Yeah, so really just how I progressed early on is I like to I did have my dad back then as like my coach. He would tell me a lot like what to do and like what lines to run. But I would also watch videos just on like YouTube and stuff from like the previous race or races before me, just like the same car, same track. And just learn from that. I would also like when we get there, I wouldn't race for a good bit, so I would watch from the stands and see what they're doing and see what I can change to make me faster or make my car faster, what I'm doing faster.
Okay. Now, and again, this is very basic knowledge of go-kart racing, so apologize for trying to understand the lingo. But so I know with the line, you're basically trying to take the shortest course to get across the track, right? So there's some that you can take pretty tight, right? Some turns that you can take tight.
Mhm.
But then there's other sharp turns that would require you to brake as well, right? So, is that kind of part of the strategy is when you're talking about lines of just figuring out which ones you can go full speed and try and take the shortest path, and then understanding in the bigger turns, where you might need to, you know, take a wider turn, possibly put on the brakes, when to put on the gas. Is that part of the art of the turns?
Yeah, so some of those sharper turns will in the quarter midgets, not a lot of the classes you'll hit the brakes or even let off just because they're a little bit underpowered. But what we're in now, a lot of the sharper corners, we will use a little bit, or well, we use brake. Some tracks will use a little bit, some tracks will use a lot. But the track we're coming up to in next week in Atlanta in Legends, that's one where we have to use full brake just because it's the quarter mile, so it's a little bit smaller. But yeah, there's some tracks where we'll barely use any brake, like maybe 20 to 10%, just because it's bigger and it's more banked, so we can just carry more speed through it.
Okay. Yeah, good to know. I was curious about that. And then and then tell us about, your first win, when that was and kind of what that felt like in that whole experience. So,
Yeah, so my first win was in my rookie season up in Canada. That was one where I hadn't learned 100% that I needed to pass on the outside or on the inside. So I passed everyone. I think I lapped everyone at least 2 to 3 times on the outside. So that one, it was a little bit odd. Like my dad was kind of astonished when I came off just because I lapped everyone around the outside. Uh, in a in my like third or fourth race. But yeah, it felt good. Spark like again, it sparked a spark in my head, thinking like, okay, let's go get the other one. Let's go get the next one. And that really just helped us for confidence wise, I guess.
Absolutely. And so your third year, that was before you guys moved to North Carolina, right? That's when you
Mhm.
won the junior 60 track championship.
Uh,
Um,
sorry, go ahead.
but yeah, so in your third year, is that where things really started to progress for you? And it was like, that's when you kind of started to realize that you need, because I think you guys were traveling a good bit to go to a lot of these races. That's when you guys kind of made the decision to move to North Carolina.
Yeah, so our third year was in 2021. We That one really clicked for us. We one class we were on the roll. I think we lost only two races that season in that class. That's how we ended up actually winning that championship. Rest of the classes we were still trying to figure out. But yeah, that season we decided to travel a little bit to like I forgot what it's called. The track is called the Wheels QMA. We raced there a little bit, and also at that time I had a driving coach that helped out with like the cars, my line, all that stuff. So that helped a lot. But then sorry, the next year that's when we really decided to travel a lot. That's when we started doing our national schedule. We still raced a little bit of club races, but most of the time we went out. We would go to California. I think one of them we went to Indiana. There was a couple of races that we went to that are a little bit farther than a couple hour drive. But yeah, that's the next year after that one is really when we decided to go full schedule
Hmm.
and do the national stuff.
And so, yeah, on that note, walk us through just kind of the day in the life of what, or week in the life of Jaxon Burnett.
Yeah, so really my day starts off as like me basically getting up and getting ready. I'll start school right around 7:30 ish or 7 to 8 ish, just that way I can get it over with. And then after school, I either do we or really there'll be some days where I'll get done halfway through school, just that way we can go do some sponsorship stuff here in North Carolina, or we'll be racing. And then when we're done with that, I'll either do some chores or some more sponsorship stuff. And then after that, I like to kind of just get some practice on the sim. And then most of the time, I'll also race with my friends on the sim. And then Mondays, I'll have training from 7 to 8, which is agility and strength training.
Okay. And then you mentioned having a coach as well. Is that something that you do like when you go to the track? You said between 7 and 8 on Mondays. Is that like in-person training typically with your coach or?
Yeah, so my racing coach, he actually went off to college a couple years ago. He's still in college now, which is in Arizona, unfortunately. But yeah, we still do. We do call him sometimes. But yeah, the Monday schedule is actually from uh, my previous football coach from not this year, but the year before. He does like training a lot. So he helps out with that, and then that's really just who our coaches are for that one. But yeah, our racing coach, he helps us help out sometimes. He mostly just comes out and watches just for now because he doesn't know a lot, he doesn't know not know a lot. But we're on a team now. But yeah.
And how does that work being on a team? So that means that because I know historically, I think if there's a race, there might be a couple, two people on the same team. Are you working together for like team spots, or is that how it works in your racing as well?
Yeah, so the team I'm running on is called 77 Speed Shop. They're one of the best teams out there right now, just because, well, they have a guy named Doug Stevens. He's considered the godfather of legends, just because he's been around them for so long. He knows everything about them. But yeah, that we don't really fight for positions or on the team. We really just kind of go based off like the team will pick you, just based off like your skill, and then also you can also join the team just because if you have a car or you can rent a car from them. Like it kind of worked out for us because how we got picked up, their deal was we run with 77 Speed Shop if we run that car, which helped us. But yeah, we really don't fight for any positions on the team. We can really you can come and rent a car. You can see if you can join in with your own car, or you can buy a car from them.
Okay. And so what do you feel like, and I'm guessing most of the kids on your team, are they kind of in that 11 to 13 age bracket or?
Yeah, so most of them are actually older. I believe almost all of them are above 15 to uh, 17 or 18. I know I believe there's a couple other kids that are 12 to 13, but none of them are really below 12.
Okay. And what do you feel like what's something you've learned from one of your teammates? Like where do you feel like being part of a team has helped you individually, even as a driver and as a person?
Yeah, I've actually learned a lot from my teammates, just from racing or just from a personal life, especially for one of my teammates, Cole Denton. He's one of the fastest in the country. He's helped a lot with racing and some with my life. He's also a really good kid, and he also helps me with being kind and also learning a lot from that.
Hmm. And so tell me, I wanted to talk to you about just kind of your mindset during a race, right? I mean, there's certain races where, like you were talking about the one in Canada where you're just, you're lapping people and you're kind of in that flow state. I'm sure you're familiar with flow and just everything seems to be smooth and everything kind of works perfectly. But obviously there's races that don't work that way, right? So, which I'm sure you've experienced either in practice or in real time. So, what are some things that you try and tell yourself during a race, whether things are good or bad, or how do you stay focused on not giving up or fighting for that next position? Tell us a little bit about your mindset during a race.
Yeah, so really, if like a race is going good or bad, I'll just try and tell myself like stay calm. One, if you get a little bit hyper, that can ruin your race. One mistake can ruin your race. I like to tell myself to stay calm. And my mindset's to always win or at least to get a top five or top three. And just that way I can get that motivation to go and push for a top three to top or a win. And if I don't, then I don't. We move on to the next race. And that's sometimes my mentality when I'm not running very good. But most of the time we'll 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 have a mindset of going for the win or at least a top three.
Yeah. So, and when you're in a race, are you talking out loud to yourself, or are you just so zoned in and thinking about your line? Are you listening to any coaches in your headset, or because a typical race, as an example, would last how long?
Typical race, as what circumstances? Like, there's some tracks that are big and it'll take, or uh, there was one race I did. It was 40 laps around, I think, 5/8 of a mile, or it was a big track. And it took about an hour and 15 minutes just because of cautions and red flags. But races at Atlanta would maybe take 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. So a race can go anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour 15, right? So with no breaks in between, I'm guessing.
So our breaks would probably be under caution or under red flags, just because, well, if there's a wreck, we'll have a caution and red flag if it's super bad. But those are really just our breaks, just because we can't really come off the track unless we wreck, or else we won't be allowed back on track.
Yes, you're not getting out of your car even on breaks, right? I mean, you're still in the car. Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, with the legend cars, they have a little latch on the door, so you can like open the latch and just open it up and let air in. But most people will just leave them closed. I like to leave them closed for most of the time.
Okay. So yeah, tell me about then and that, 15-minute to hour 15-minute span. Are you talking out loud to yourself, or you mainly just, if we had like a camera or microphone set up in your car, what kind of stuff would we hear either going between you and your coach or helping you kind of stay focused?
Yeah, so we actually don't have a coach into my ear. We have race director, which kind of just directs the race, tells us what the lineup should be, what we should be doing. If we're black flagged, if we got the blue flag, green flag, white flag, basically all that. But really, just going, I like to sometimes think out loud, or really most of the time, I like to think in my head.
Okay. About your next move and whatnot. You're
Yeah.
totally focused on that next move. And
Mhm.
yeah, it seems like too, I know whenever I'm in a go-kart, like, your adrenaline feels like it's pumping the whole time, right? It
Mhm.
seems like
Yep.
is it like that even in an hour-long race where just the whole time you were just completely zoned in and your body's just totally amped up and focused, or it seems like it's kind of hard to stay that focused for that long. So any strategies that you do, either physically breathing techniques or anything like that, that kind of help you be able to have that type of stamina just mentally to be that focused?
Not really. Just really, I like to try and stay calm when I'm calm. I like to it kind of just not really amps me up more, but it kind of just lowers the adrenaline in me. Just that way I don't get super bored or run out of stamina mentally.
Hmm.
I might run out of stamina for the longer races just because they're longer, and I haven't done longer races for a while now. But really, just to stay focused is really just kind of focus on the car ahead of me, thinking like, okay, well, this I'm just gonna think about it as this is the leader. I'm gonna go get this guy, and I'm gonna take over this spot, and I'm gonna go to the next one, next one, next one, next one. And my quarter midget coach, he actually came up with a saying, "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time." So that's basically what it means is just one car at a time.
Yeah, and kind of helps you stay focused on the next mission in front of you, which is the next car, right?
Hmm.
Um, Very interesting. And so you made the move to North Carolina. Tell us what that has been like, because I think you've been there now you guys moved in 2023. So, 2 years now in North Carolina. Um, what has that been like so far? I mean, in terms of just, do you feel like, being that the family has moved, that you've, put that much more like focus on racing? Do you feel like it's really, um, helped your ability exceed to the next level just by being part of a different team? Um, I know you're still doing the online, school, so that probably hasn't changed too much in that regard. But tell us what that move has been like for you and what you've learned in the process so far.
Yeah, so the move was very important for us, just to help with racing. It has a lot that we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be talking to you. We wouldn't be in the legend car right now if we wouldn't have moved out here just because of based off what we've been doing out here. But yeah, it was very important for like me and our racing career, and also to my family to help us or help me, which I'm very appreciative of. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. Uh, but um, but yeah, a lot has changed when we moved out here, especially the weather. Back in Seattle, the weather was a little bit rainyish. Out here, it's hotter, more clear. But yeah, a lot of stuff has changed for racing wise. Like it just pushed me to think as like, okay, we moved out here. I'm gonna show up and show what I can do since we're out here now. We were actually recommended to move out here since we were performing so well back in Seattle, to move out here because there's higher competition, which there has been. But yeah, that really just kind of changed my mindset to thinking, okay, it's time to really show up and show what I can do. So that way, because this move, I know a lot of NASCAR drivers are from North Carolina, all that, and I know if I show up, I can hopefully get to NASCAR one day.
Mm. And in your opinion, where do you feel like you have showed the most improvement, or where do you feel like you've matured or gotten better as a driver over the last couple of years? Anything specific that you feel like you do better now than you did 2 years ago?
Really just getting out of the car, calm or cool headed after a bad race.
Mm.
Back then, I used to get pretty upset, or not back then, but when I first started, I used to get really upset. Sometimes even cry if it was that bad. But now it's not so bad. Sometimes I'll just come out. We do have a laptop where we look at data, and sometimes I'll just grab that, look what I did wrong, go to my engineer, see what I did wrong, and kind of just work on for the next race.
Hmm. And you mentioned looking at the laptop. Is it basically looking at like your lap split times, so you'll know, which laps you maybe messed up on to be able to improve on for next time, or what can you learn from looking at that?
Yeah, so it's basically like a studio, like a race studio. It kind of shows like your lap times, your laps, like your separate laps, and then it shows like your RPMs, your throttle percentage, your miles an hour, just a whole bunch of things that could help you on the track and off the track. But it really just shows us our lap times, our lap lines, and throttle percentage and miles per hour.
Okay. And reflecting back, what would you say has been your most memorable race, favorite race, anything that you feel like really stands out in terms of when you came back, or any particular race in your mind that stands out above the others?
Probably this last race at Atlanta. We That was my first Young Lion win, and that was a lot of fun. We had about 10 laps to go. I was about a straightaway behind the leader. I ended up running him down, moved him a little bit, very cleanly moved him, got him loose. It was a drag race to the line. We were both kind of drifting coming out of the corner, and I just beat him by maybe 500th of a second. So that was a
Wow,
memorable race for me. That was one of my favorite races, just to run him down and get the win.
that's fantastic. And won by half a
I think,
second, or
yeah, right around half a tenth or close to like 500ths or even lower.
wow. And you mentioned knocking him loose. You mean knocking him loose off his line, right? If he's the leader, I guess he's got a particular line. So you come up and try and knock him off that line a little bit to.
Yeah, so loose, what I mean by is like get the like kind of like slide the car, like where the rear end would kick out and you're kind of just sideways. It's kind of what I did. I kind of got to his rear left corner of his bumper and I hit that. I kind of like nudged him out of the way, got him loose up the track a little bit, and I was able to go underneath him and get the win.
Hmm. And, that was something I wanted to ask you about too, because it's a different mindset in a race when you're chasing the leader or you're behind the leader because your only goal is to get past that guy. But sometimes you're the lead car and you're basically, instead of looking at your, windshield, you're looking in your rearview mirror, right? So, how do you kind of manage that difference in mentalities when you're chasing somebody down versus like when you're the leader?
Yeah, so when I'm in the leader, I really just kind of focus. I don't. Sometimes I'll focus on the car behind me if they're like right there. But if I have a good enough gap, I won't focus on them, and I'll kind of just focus what I'm doing out the windshield. But most of the time when I'm chasing, it'd be like a mentality of, okay, let's go get this car. I need to get this car in order to win. And most of the time it helps, especially the last race. But when I'm leading, I just like to focus on what's ahead of me.
Yeah. And where do you feel like, is it easier to, if you're behind someone, like on their bumper, is it easier to pass them? Or do you feel like it's easier to race when you're already ahead of that person, in your opinion?
My opinion, it's a little bit different because I like to pass cars. I like the adrenaline of passing people. A lot of people, it's easier to uh, run out front and kind of just move their way around and just kind of move to somewhat block the second place. But for me, it's really just better if I can. It's easier for me to get around people and pass people just because like I can set it up. When I'm in the lead, it's a little bit more difficult for me.
Yeah. Because it almost seems like if you're watching somebody from the rearview mirror, it's almost like you're trying to prevent from making a mistake, which seems like it makes it more likely
Mhm.
in some
Yeah,
ways, right? So you want to stay more focused on,
yeah.
your own line and taking each turn as tight as you can.
Yeah, that's why I like to kind of focus on what's ahead of me. A lot of people drive like call like rear mirror drive view, which is basically just them looking in your mirrors and just looking back at you, or just looking in their mirrors trying to see where you're going and not where they're going. So that's what happens a lot, and that's how I'm able to get around them sometimes. But most of the time, for me, it's just easier to just pass someone than really just mirror drive them.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And I know you mentioned too that part of your schedule and routine is finding sponsorships, and I know you've secured a sponsorship with us at grit.org. So I enjoyed getting to do our interview here a couple weeks ago. I've known your dad for a number of years through the domain industry, so really glad we've been able to connect here. But I know you set up a partnership with Rhino Shield, and so part of what you do in addition to your training is getting sponsorships because, obviously you're not necessarily getting paid to win races yet. So you have to get corporate sponsors to come in and help fund you. So what, how do you figure out which companies to go to? And then what's kind of your pitch on, why sponsor you?
Yeah, so we basically just kind of like go door knocking throughout the Albemarle area, Stanley County area, just really just local to us. We like to go door knocking, and then sometimes when we're down in Atlanta, we like to go door knocking there too. And really, just my pitch is just to like basically, it's like, hey, I'm Jaxon Burnett with Jaxon Burnett Racing. I'm a 12-year-old youth race car driver, originally from Seattle, Washington, and I moved here from for racing. And that's really just some of my pitch. Just basically that, and then also kind of listing off my achievements and just seeing like if they could partner with us, if um, uh, with the exposure they'll get, with the exposure I'll get, just basically what we can do for them.
Hmm. And how do you determine which companies to go to? Do you feel like you kind of target companies that you feel like would be, good alignment for you in the racing industry, or just at this point, kind of anybody that you think would be open to sponsoring?
We'll really just kind of go to anyone. I think we've gone to a couple carpet places. We've gone to pet stores. We've gone to a lot of people, just not in like the motorsports or automotive industry. Just kind of just people who we think could help us out.
Okay. And yeah, if there are, potential sponsors that are listening, I guess, is there, what typically requires the most investment from you? Is it kind of just entry to the races? Is it, just the normal wear and tear on the car of like new tires or different things like that? Or what typically do you feel like you need the most help with in
Uh,
terms of raising money?
Really just kind of with our racing expenses. Sorry. But really, anyone can do any amount they want. We can range from $100 or $8 to, well, $1 million if we're able to. But really, just anyone who's able to help us out, it would be awesome. We can put anything to anything of part of our racing, whether it be travel to racing expenses. Racing expenses.
Yeah, and on that note too, I mean, you guys have 51 races lined up for this year, right? For 2026. And so that's pretty much a race a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know you mentioned as well, and I find this super intriguing that you have your own, in addition to going to the track, you have your own, VR headset simulator where you can get in and practice even the upcoming race. So, how long have you had that equipment? And maybe for our listeners, I know you mentioned to me before kind of the setup, but if you don't mind just kind of, sharing for our listeners what your VR setup looks like and how that's helped you in your training as well.
Yeah, so basically, like our setup's kind of like a tube framed cockpit with a seat and then a mounted TV to it. And it's basically I got it about 2 years ago. It helps a lot. I just upgraded the wheel from Christmas, and then I recently got a shifter for it. But yeah, it's called the GTO Mega Art. It's just like an entry level cockpit. It's right around $250. It's not bad. I know they can range from 250 to 80,000. I've tried an $80,000 one, and it looks like a spider. It's crazy.
Mm.
And But yeah, it's really just an entry level cockpit that I got. I'm looking to upgrade, but they're just so expensive now. But yeah, it's kind of just a two frame cockpit with like a kind of like mini desk for your wheel and your mouse. and then just with a seat on it and a TV, and then like the VR I'll plug into the computer, and then I'll just hook it up to like iRacing, which I use.
And you were saying too, a big part of using that helps you kind of know the lines of the course before you race it.
Yeah, so that helps a lot with the line, some throttle points and braking points for some tracks, not all of them, but yeah, it really just helps out with line and then sometimes setup.
Hmm. Um, what about in terms of like when you race against, because as you progress, you're racing harder and harder kids each time you get on the track, which is great because obviously you're getting better and better as well. Is there anything that you've noticed when you're racing against, some of the best kids in the country? Anything that they do differently that you're trying to emulate or incorporate into what you're doing?
Yeah, they're it just seems from their based off what I can see, just seems like they're more calm, they're more relaxed, they're more focused than I am, which I'm trying to work on. It's a little bit difficult for me, but yeah, that's really just a key thing. I can't really tell a lot, but yeah, really just they're trying to be as calm as they possibly can. They're also some of the best cars as you can in the legends and the higher rankings. But yeah, that's really just the key thing, just trying to stay calm and more focused.
Yeah, it's interesting how that works with a lot of different, sports and things in life that, your skill set is so good that, so much of it, 90% is mental at this point and preparation and just kind of your own mindset towards it. Um, and so with 51 races coming up this year, tell us about any goal setting that you do for that, or, I know you have a certain number of races you want to win, or you obviously want to win all of them, right? But kind of break down for us in terms of how you approach kind of going into the year, goal setting, anything that you're looking to achieve, or if you just take it one race at a time and trying to do the best you can at that race, and then rinse and repeat into the next race. What's kind of your mentality with that?
Yeah, so with our main season goal is try and win. My two goals are to try and win as many races as I possibly can, just that way we can get as many points as we can. And then my second one is go get a national championship because that's our main objective this year. That's why we're running so many races to go get a main national championship. But for really like most of the time, we'll just go race by race. Some bad races we'll just rinse and repeat. I go to the next one. But most of the goals for that race or for those races, try and at least get a top three or top five at least. But again, as many points as we possibly can from those races.
And when you're going into a race, do you know exactly who you're going to be competing with? Is that something that you study as well, knowing that there's certain racers that are going to be in it and how you've kind of competed with them in the past? Or is it you just don't really know some of those details until you show up race day?
Yeah, so some of those details we don't know till race day. We'll know like the car count and stuff, but we just won't know who's there or until we get there.
Okay. And then what about, kind of your own personal recovery from a race? Obviously, I'm sure it takes a lot out of you, like once you've, just preparing for a race, mentally, emotionally, getting all the school work done, then you're done with a race. And then now you've got a little bit of free time. What do you do personally to kind of recover, rejuvenate, just relax, take your mind off racing a little bit? Or how do you keep yourself balanced in that way, if you will?
Yeah, so really just coming off our race, whether it be good or bad, we like to kind of just chill out. Most of the races will be on a Saturday, but most of the time like if it's a fall race or even if it's uh, like a summertime spring race, we'll the next day we'll just chill out. We'll probably clean out some of my stuff if we're able to, clean out the car if it's dirty or something. And then most of the time we'll watch some of the NASCAR races, kind of just chill for that day. We'll go out for dinner or we'll eat here at the house. But really, it's just, and then we next day after that we'll go back to school and we'll go back to some sponsor stuff and then training as well.
Very cool. And curious too, when you're racing, do you have like a water bottle or snacks in the car, or is it you're just straight up racing, don't even have time for that?
So as of right now, what I'm racing right now, I don't have any of that. I know you're allowed to. I've seen people with water bottles and air tubes, all that stuff. Even like their phones. I don't know why they would need that. Uh, but um, but most of the time, we're not able to. But the next steps you're able to is kind of like a mandatory thing. To Most of the time, it's mandatory just because of how hot they get in the car because it's a fully enclosed car. But also, once I get into higher stuff, I'll be able to get snacks, water, air, all that stuff.
Okay. And so, what do you feel like you're working towards at this point? Is it basically getting more points so that you can, or kind of paint the picture of like, what having a good year this year will mean for the next year and kind of moving forward for you?
Yeah, so really just what we're looking for is just to grow a lot, kind of just, but yeah, really just those main things. Go win as many as we can.
Hmm. And the eventual goal for someone that does professional racing is to get into NASCAR. Is that kind of the eventual goal for a lot of drivers?
Yeah, so for me, it's NASCAR or IndyCar, one of the two, just because mostly it's ovals. But there's a lot of people that will want to get to IMSA, WEC, which is World Endurance Championship, or F1 is the most highest one. But yeah, my goal is to try and get to IndyCar or NASCAR. Sorry.
Okay. And then is there a certain age that typically would happen or would happen?
Yeah, so I believe you have to be at least 15 to start in the Arca Menard series.
Okay.
And then it really just goes up from there. Like you can start at 16 and then in the NASCAR Xfinity series, which is the step right below believe it or no, that's 18. Sorry, but NASCAR Truck Series is 16. But the level I'm at right now, you have to be 10 to start in Legends, and then the next step is 12 years old.
Okay.
So a lot of people just go from quarter midgets straight to late models, but that's really what we're not doing right now. We do have a junior late model combine coming up. We'll leave tomorrow for it. But for right now, we're going to try and stay in Legends as long as we can. Just learn a lot.
Okay. Yeah, good to know how all that, works out. And then I wanted to ask too, favorite racing movie or TV show, and then maybe favorite non-racing movie, TV or show, anything that jumps out?
Yeah, so some of my favorite movies are got to be Ford versus Ferrari or F1 the movie. Those are definitely some of my favorites. And then my show is probably uh, Full Speed by NASCAR. That's a really good one just because it's, well, based off of like Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, all those guys. They just came out with a new season, which is many more people. And then also F1 Drive to Survive. That's a really good show as well. And then also some of my favorite like non-racing shows. It's got to be like Stitch and Lilo. I like to watch that one. I know they just came out with a new one, but I like the old one a little bit better. But yeah, there's some other stuff I can't really think about off the top of my head. I have the images, I just don't have the name, unfortunately. But yeah, those are some of my favorite racing shows and movies.
I love it. Yeah, just recently, it's only been probably a month ago, we watched F1, and such a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
I like kind of the combination of like old school versus new school, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's good stuff. Um, let's see. And then in terms of, I think, I might have mentioned this, but I'd love to hear kind of an additional feedback in terms of, you're talking about skills that you want to develop to kind of unlock that next level of success for you. I know you mentioned, you know, um, some of these other racers you've seen that are just, cool, calm, collected. Anything that you personally feel like you're working on to, kind of further enhance either your skills or mindset, anything else that you feel like is a focus for you?
Yeah, so really just kind of like my agility and strength, just because like getting into the bigger stuff, it's going to be harder to drive, especially since those are anywhere from 100 to 500 laps. So that would be really just one of the main things, and also just staying calm, and then also focusing on school.
Yeah. And you mentioned agility and strength, and that's interesting because I know technically you're sitting at the same time. Is it preventing your, being in a certain amount of shape that your body doesn't get cramps, or what is it you're trying to, strengthen when you're doing these type workouts to be able to race that long?
Yeah, so really just we're trying to focus on like our the arms, and then also really just our running agility. Just because the steering, since there is no power steering, will wear us out a lot. Even in the legends, it wears me out sometimes. And then also kind of just kind of also not try and get cramps. Like we'll drink. I believe I've drank close to half a gallon before a race before. So just to try and of water, just so that way I don't get cramps. But yeah, just trying to get agility, strength, just that way we can handle the wheel and handle how long the races are.
Yeah. Have to make sure you use the bathroom before you go, right? Holding it for 120 laps is not easy. Well, very cool. No, and Jaxon, I wanted to ask you as well in terms of the Grit Creed. These are 12 principles that we really, use for our messaging to pour into the next generation. I know you're familiar with the 12 principles of the Grit Creed, but which one resonates most with you and why?
Yeah, I think the saying "I will follow through with what I will say I will do" helps a lot. Just because, like, I say I want to go to NASCAR, I want to go to late models, and I'm following through with that. I'm saying like, or I'm going through with that. I'm going to win races. I'm going to get at least top threes. I'm going to go talk to people. Staying out there like the fan zone, talking to a lot of people, and just doing all that just to help get to NASCAR and get to my goals.
Very cool. And in order to follow you, I know you've got Jaxon Burnett Racing, so we'll put a link in the comments. So it's JAXON BURNETT Racing.com. And then that's where you kind of do updates on upcoming races and finishes and things like that.
Yeah, so that's where our like merch store is. I believe it'll take you to some of our Facebook too, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. We'll link it all to there. But yeah, that's really where you can keep up to date with us.
Well, thank you again, Jaxon. This has been a blast. Again, our youngest guest on the Grit.org podcast. We're super excited to be, sponsoring you for 2026. And, just have enjoyed getting to know you and your passion for, racing and just a very mature young man and seem, like you're just very focused and determined, and the amount of time and effort you pour into your goals and dreams, it's going to be fun to watch. And I know that's going to be something you carry with you for the rest of your life. And so we're just honored to have you on today. And we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. So thanks for being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Grit.org podcast. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.